Hi, everybody. My name is Ana Iris, and I felt that God put in my heart to share my story today. So I hope that you are encouraged and blessed, and that God can speak to you today, and that hopefully you can have another outlook maybe on life. So I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I was born there, and when I was born with something called a medical condition called lymphangioma, or now they call it lymphatic malformation. And uh, because of that, my family needed to find some type of medical care for me, but they were very poor, and so it was hard. They didn't really have a lot of options. So they went around the country trying to find different facilities to see, what could be done for me. But most of the places asked for, they said that they could do surgeries for me, but that it would be a lot of money and they just couldn't afford it. But it happened that my father was working at a candle factory, and right next to the a few blocks away from the candle factory, was this organization called Corazones Unidos. And what they did is that they partnered with an agency in the United States called Healing the Children to bring children to the U.S. from the Dominican Republic and other countries to receive medical care for free. And so the way that it happens is that the children come to the U.S. and volunteer families decide that they're going to foster the children until they receive all the medical care they need, and take them to their appointments and their surgeries and everything. And then once they're healed or better, then they can go back to their country. And so I was approved at age 2 to come to the U.S., and I ended up coming, and I actually stayed with the family for a little bit, not really sure how long, but apparently I was crying a lot, and so they couldn't handle me. And what my thought is that the angels were pinching me at night so that I could cry, so that I could end up where I needed to be. So basically, they told the head of the organization that they couldn't do it, and so they found another family for me. And so then I came into this other family, and they have loved me ever since they met me at age 2. And so I stayed with them for 2 years and obtained various surgeries, and on my face and on my eye, and um, yeah. So the way that it would work is that I would be in the United States about 6 or 7 months, and then in the Dominican Republic about 6 or 7 months, and that happened until I was age 12. And so at age 12, my foster parents asked if I wanted to stay in the U.S. so that I can go to school and just have all these opportunities that weren't available for me in my native land. Mostly because my parents just didn't have the means to, even if I wanted to go to college, I couldn't afford it. So they offered, to adopt me so that I can be their legal daughter and be able to have all those opportunities. And so at age 12, I was adopted, and I started going to school full time here in the U.S. Now, school was very, very hard for me. It was very difficult because I had missed a lot of school with my 6 months there, 6 months here. I was never really consistent in school, and so I struggled a lot. But eventually, I pushed through. My family were very supportive, and I was able to go to high school. And in high school, though, it was very difficult for me to just be different, just feel different. And I went to school, which was mostly Caucasian population, and so I was one of the very few Latina black girls there. And that was hard for me. It was hard because I felt different because of all the surgeries I had and my physical issue, and then also just looking different. And so I developed a lot of insecurities because of that. And the culture says, you are valuable if you look pretty, or if you're skinny, or if you're, this and that, and you had to look a certain way and be a certain way. And I felt like I was none of those, none of what the culture said I needed to be. And then another thing is, oh, if you're a girl, especially teenage girl, if you're a girl and you have all these boys that like you, then, that's where your value is. And I never really had any of that. Yeah, within my school, I never dated anyone in my school. And I started to seek attention elsewhere. And so some people, like outside of my school, some guys kind of showed me attention. And so then I kind of tasted that little bit of, oh, so I like that this person says I look nice, so they must mean it. So, wow. And so then I just started to find my value in guys that said that I look nice, and having, dating different people, and just wanting to hear that all the time, and wanting to feel wanted and needed. And that came from mostly dating people. And so that happened. And then I went to college, and it just continued. It just got worse because I was trying to fill the voids that are God voids that only He can fill in my heart, with the attention from other people. And so it just got worse because I kept on filling myself up with what was wrong. And so if you're watching this video now, like, and you feel that void in your life, it's not going to be filled by any approval, by any good grades, by any degrees, by anything else that's not God. And I know that you know what I'm talking about, that, okay, but I think there's something more. Well, He's the something more. And I have come to learn that, but I didn't know that. I didn't always know that or even believe that. So I ended up dating someone who I cared for a lot, and we just spent so much time together. And I just really cared about him. But during that time when we were dating, my cousin in the Dominican Republic, who I was really close with, died of a motorcycle accident. And then shortly after, my grandfather died, and that just hit me so hard, and I was just so sad. And then shortly after that, like maybe a few months after that, the boyfriend that I had put all my value and worth in broke up with me, and so we broke up. And so then I became very, very, very depressed, and I just didn't know what to do. All these systems that I had put in place for myself of where my value is just weren't there anymore. And I had these two losses that just I had to deal with, and were so hard. And then the loss of my boyfriend, and I just became so depressed. And I just wasn't happy, and I would drive my car, and every time I was in my car, I was even suicidal. Like, I would think about how I would want to kill myself every day. Just, how can I do it? Maybe I could do it this way. Maybe I could do it another way. And whenever I would drive my car, I would think, maybe if I crash, what would happen if I crashed today? And I understood, like, within me that it wasn't really me that was thinking that. It was just, I was just so depressed, and I was allowing just evil thoughts into my life, and just rewinding and thinking these evil thoughts into my life. And at one point almost believing that that's what I needed to do. But I understood that I was seeking really attention. I was screaming in the inside, and I needed somebody to hear me, because I just found out that all these lies that I thought were going to fill me up, they weren't real, and they betrayed me. So at one point, I finally told my parents about how I was feeling, and I was just crying every single day. I was just so miserable, and I finally sought help. And if you are in a situation where you are depressed or suicidal and you haven't sought help yet, please seek help. Please do, because I guarantee that if you allow yourself to seek the help that you need, then there's a probability that you'll get better. But if you do go through with the suicidal thoughts, and there's no chance that they can. And so my prayer for you is that if you are seeing this and you are, struggling with that, please seek some type of help. So I did, and I basically just was flat on my face and told my parents, I need something. And I ended up in the hospital for about 3 or 4 days. And then, I was on medication and just for the depression. And I started to finally, okay, look up like, God, like, what do I need to do? And let me tell you, when I was in college, I knew of God, and I grew up in church, and um, but I just never was really that interested. And I knew that He was there, and I knew that He was real, but it didn't affect me. I didn't let Him really into my life. And at one point, I was like, you know what, God, if you don't like what I'm doing, why don't you stop me? And yeah, I had a very rebellious type of spirit. And so I went to the hospital, and then after I got out of the hospital, I started therapy. And the one thing that I feel so blessed for is my family, because I feel like they just came together in such a wonderful way. When I was in the hospital for those few days, a lot of my siblings came to come visit me, and I hold that dearly, because we think in our head when we're going through this depression or whatever, that we don't have anyone that cares for us. And that's a lie, because I had a lot of people that cared for me, but I couldn't see it. And so they were very supportive of my healing. And so then I was in therapy, and things were getting better, but I still felt like there was more that I needed. There was just something else that I needed. And I happened to have a friend that she went to church, went to Emergence Church, and she told me about it. And I was more kind of perceptive to saying yes, so I said yes, and I ended up going with her once or twice. And then it happened that I was like, okay, well, I want to know more. And then I went by myself. And when I started going by myself was when God started healing, and everything that the pastor said was for me. Every single sermon that he said that summer was for me. I felt like it was just, I cried every single time, because I felt like God was saying, Anna, I love you. Why are you, believing all these lies that you need to find fulfillment in attention from other people or other guys or whatever? Like, so yeah, and now, he started whispering to my heart, you're beautifully and wonderfully made. You're a head, you're not the tail. I love you. And just to learn more about Jesus, and why he came. For God so loved the world that he sent his only son. He loved the world. He loves us, and that's why he came to save us, so that we can now have access to the Father, and be able to pray to him directly, and be able to have a relationship with him. And I never knew that I could have a relationship with someone so perfect. I think that we see these romantic movies, and we say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna find someone that's just gonna be so perfect for me. And I have found the perfect man in the person of Jesus. And I just encourage you, to invite him into your life and invite him into your heart, because that's the only relationship that's gonna last. And no matter what happens to you, no matter where you are in life, he's always gonna be there. And I just thank him so much for that. And so yeah, so I started going to Emergence, and then eventually started going to a Bible study group, and I have met so many just amazing people who have encouraged me in my walk, and encouraged me to, not just in my walk, but through life, to know that I am loved, and I do have value. And that's something that I didn't really understand that much. And I'm just so grateful for the leadership and just the people that I have met there, and for God for bringing me so far. And I can say now, do I suffer from insecurities? Sure, they creep up sometimes. Uh, it's not like you become a follower of Christ and all of a sudden everything is peachy, and you have no issues. That's not what it is at all. If anything, people might look at you weird, because it's like, oh, you love Jesus that much. But I have this joy that no one could take away from me. And I know how much I've changed, and I know how much he's changed me and matured me, to the woman that I am now. So no matter what people say about you or whatever, there's a joy inside of me that I can't even describe it really. It's something that's always there, and no matter what happens, like I am so secure in Him that I know that it doesn't matter, because I have that foundation in Him. And so I encourage you to open up your heart. Open up your heart. If you don't know God, if you don't believe in God or that there is a God, see what happens if you open your heart up and just be like, all right, God, I don't really know about you or believe in you, but are you real? Are you real? Allow Him to come into your heart and into your life, and He can do amazing things if you just do it with faith. So I just wanted to leave you with one Bible verse that has encouraged me so much, and it's in John 9. And it's when Jesus, they're asking Jesus why this man was born blind. And so it says this, John 9, 1 says, as he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, it was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. If you're watching this and you think, wow, I have this issue, or I was born this way, God, why am I this way, or why am I that way? And I believe that God has a plan for each and every one of us, and I believe that if you're born with a certain type of physical problem and you think, oh, I don't look how I want to look or how people think I need to look, God has a plan for everyone. And I truly believe that the reason that I was born with this issue is so that God can be glorified, because you know what? I found Him. And I wouldn't change Him for the world. So if you're watching this and you have those insecurities, I guarantee that God has such a wonderful plan for your life, and so that He can do His work through you. And I just pray that if you're watching this, that you can be susceptible to that and open up your heart. And I thank you so much for watching, and I pray that you have a blessed day. And thank you so much, and have a great day.